Thanks to the coronavirus, the big debate right now is, well, two things. One, is elbow kissing considered cheating? And two, how do you reopen schools? How can you get kids learning again, but keep them and their teachers safe? Because kids may not be badly affected by coronavirus, but teachers easily could be. And a lot of people don't know this, but teachers have families of their own. Yeah, it's true. Mrs. Nicholson didn't sleep in the classroom at night. She had a house and everything. So because of this, schools are trying to come up with different solutions. Some of them have decided to have outdoor classes, but that means that all the pale kids are going to fail. New York City has announced it'll only have kids come into class 1 to 3 days a week, like an ear, nose, throat specialist. But then the question is, what are parents supposed to do on the days when their kids are at home? And some schools in America have decided that they're just going to throw kids into the classroom and hope for the best. Sort of like the Hunger Games, except instead of money, you get no grandparents. Now, President Trump has demanded that all schools open up as normal. And he's even threatening to withhold federal funding from schools that refuse. So just so we're on the same page, he won't touch the police, but he'll defund the shit out of schools. Like, let's agree on that. Everybody wants schools to reopen. The question is, can it be done safely? And the problem is, it doesn't seem like the federal government knows how to make that happen. For instance, here's Betsy DeVos, Secretary of Education and your new stepmom who immediately sent you to fat camp, trying to explain the administration's plan.
What are experts telling you about the appropriate level of transmission for a school before it has to shut down?
Well, I know that that's an area that the CDC is helping to provide further insight into. I can't, as a non-physician or a non-medical expert, tell you precisely what to do in the case of one child in a classroom or five children in a classroom to be able to.
So just to be clear, are you saying that areas where there is a flare-up, that schools should revert to remote learning?
I'm saying that schools should have plans.
Like, I truly don't understand how there's bailouts for airlines, free money for the banks, but when it comes to schools, they're just like, here's a can of Lysol, good luck. I'll be honest. At this point, I don't understand why anybody is a teacher in America. You're underpaid, you're overworked, you have to deal with school shootings, and now this? Like, I don't know, maybe Betsy DeVos's master plan is to just hope that the school shooters kill the coronavirus and the problems just cancel each other out. Because I don't understand what else she's thinking. America can't just open schools because other countries have opened schools. Those countries got coronavirus under control first. One comes because of the other. It's like when I was growing up, I really wanted Jordans. But I didn't realize that all my friends had Jordans because their parents had disposable income. I didn't understand the link. So that didn't stop me from trying to have what my friends had. And you know what happened? I kept on pushing and pushing, and for my birthday, I got a pair of Gordons, the official shoe of Gordon Ramsay. For more on how to reopen schools, I'm joined by a man who's been repeatedly fired as a substitute teacher, Michael Costa. What's going on, Costa?
It's great, Trevor. It took me a month, but I finally got rid of all those fireworks I had laying around, so.
Wait, that was you? Dude, I couldn't sleep. You know what, we're going to talk about this later, but right now, the big issue in America is how can the country reopen schools safely?
Yeah, well, the good news, Trevor, is that I have a solution that works out for everybody. Okay, so check this out. One, we know parents want their kids out of the house. And two, we know children are less susceptible to corona. So why don't we solve both problems at once? Let's send children to work at meatpacking plants. Think about it. The kids stay busy and we get all the chicken nuggets that God blessed us with. You're welcome.
Hold on, Costa. You want children to spend the school day meatpacking? So you're trying to bring back child labor?
Please, Trevor. Child labor never went away. We just outsourced it to different countries. I want to bring those American jobs back home.
Respectfully, I don't think you can just eliminate the school system.
Why not? You only go to school so you can get a job. I'm cutting out the middleman. Think about all the successful people that dropped out of school. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, but they dropped out of college, not second grade.
Can you imagine how much more successful they would be if they just would have dropped out earlier?
But the kids won't be learning anything.
That's not true. You can learn everything that you learned in school at a meatpacking plant. Finding out where the T-bone is, that's biology. Learning how much antibiotics a cow can take before it dies, that's chemistry. How about some math problems? If Timmy is boxing ground beef at 10 boxes a minute, how many warnings does it take before we fire slow-ass Timmy?
How many?
None, because I caught Timmy talking to a union organizer. You're fired, Timmy. Pack up your shit. Bye.
Okay, Costa, not only is this idea despicable, it will never work.
On the contrary, Trevor, I'm running a pilot program right now. I got my neighbor's kids packing meat as we speak. And I got so much meat, I don't even know what to do with it. Oh man, hold on. I gotta go. It sounds like Mason got his overalls stuck in the meat grinder again. I'm gonna call you back. Mason, you're okay. Just breathe, buddy.
Michael, Costa, everybody. In some good news, I know we don't get to say that much, but in some good news, we've just learned that all 45 people in a major vaccine trial successfully developed antibodies. The only bad news is that a vaccine isn't coming until next year at the earliest. And in the meantime, America just set another new record for daily coronavirus cases. So congratulations to those 45 people. I mean, not only do you have antibodies, you're probably going to inherit the earth. So have fun repopulating. And if you get hungry, there's a can of Goya beans in the White House. Now, until there's a vaccine, the one thing everyone must do is wear a mask when they go out in public. In fact, the CDC director said yesterday that America could get coronavirus under control in 4 to 8 weeks if everyone just wore masks. But instead, people are doing shit like this.
Some Americans openly rebelling against basic COVID-19 messaging. In Jacksonville, Florida, this rally to support a local lawmaker who filed a lawsuit Monday against a recently mandated mask policy.
New video of an outdoor dance party in Philadelphia showing people packing the streets despite coronavirus restrictions.
There was a DJ, there was music, but little social distancing and few face masks.
A restaurant in Florida is offering free food to guests who aren't wearing face masks. The grilled cheese bar said it was not demanding face masks. The first 100 people to enter without a mask receives a free meal.
Oh boy, that's a cool promotion. Free dinner for you and a free buffet for coronavirus. I can't think of anything less worth dying for than a grilled cheese. That is the one thing everyone can make at home. Like if you're gonna make people risk their lives, at least throw a poached egg on there or something. Because those are hard to make, because sometimes the vinegar and the thing and then it like floats and then it's not, then I just say I made boiled eggs and people are like, where's the shell? I'm like, I do it my way. And if it makes you angry that people in the streets are ignoring the CDC, well, it gets worse. Because now the White House itself is cutting the health agency out of the loop.
The CDC will no longer control coronavirus numbers. The Trump administration is asking hospitals to bypass the agency and send daily reports directly to a new system set up by the administration themselves. 4 former CDC directors penned a Washington Post op-ed slamming the decision. They say it's a political move at a time when the White House just wants to reopen schools.
What a fantastic idea. Instead of having the CDC count COVID cases, we can hand it over to this guy.
1.87 million tests today, so that's 1,870,000 million tests.
Oh man, that is the 1/100th time I've watched that clip, and it never stops being funny. But I guess this is the blessing of the Trump presidency. You learn so much about how the government works based on what he screws up. Everyone's out there like, I didn't know that hospitals sent daily reports to the CDC. But now that they're not, I'm furious about it! Now, one of the reasons that Trump is turning on everyone from the CDC to Dr. Fauci is because they're against his plan to reopen schools at any cost. And that's what he wants to do. He wants schools open. Probably because he thinks it'll finally get Eric out of the house. But despite Trump's pressure, the experts are warning over and over again that reopening schools without containing the virus could lead to dire consequences. And that's why some teachers are now preparing for the worst.
As the decision on whether to reopen Texas schools intensifies, teachers are writing open letters expressing their concerns and frustrations. On social media, educators are going as far as writing their wills, citing what they call America's decision to prioritize money over people. In addition, one teacher said she's establishing her medical power of attorney and taking out extra life insurance.
Man, if teachers in America didn't already feel undervalued and disrespected, now they are being forced to literally put their lives on the line while a pandemic is still raging. Being a teacher is already hard enough. The classes are too big. You got to spend your own money on supplies. And if you do a really good job, what do you get as a thank you? A kid brings you an apple. It's not a good gift, Billy, you little shit. They're $1 a pound. You just put your dirty ass booger hands all over it. I mean, if I were a teacher in this situation, I'd just start suspending students for whatever reason I could, just to get them out of the room. Chewing gum, suspended. Got a question wrong in class, suspended. I mean, I love kids, but I'm not dying for someone who doesn't know 2 + 2. So coronavirus has teachers all over America more worried than ever before. But at least many of their students are finding ways to make the most of this disaster.
The Pulse begins with teens taking advantage of wearing a face mask.
Get this, a new viral trend on social media has them using face coverings to help them buy alcohol. Videos show teens dressing as elderly people and using face masks to help conceal their identity. They're seen successfully and illegally buying booze and celebrating their success. Some of the videos have been watched more than 2 million times.
You're dressing up like grandma, but what would grandma say about what you're doing?
Yeah, I think grandma would be happy that at least someone is wearing a mask. But kids, please remember, this is a very dangerous game that you are playing. All right, because if your disguise is good enough to trick the liquor store guy into thinking that you're old, it might also be good enough to trick coronavirus too, and then you're screwed. So, that's the latest on America's coronavirus journey. People aren't wearing masks, teachers are fearing for their lives, and it looks like Trump might try to fudge the coronavirus numbers. So, kids, please save some of that alcohol, because we're all going to need it. As coronavirus continues to rage across the country, more people are finally learning the importance of wearing face masks. Walmart and other major chains have announced that people must wear masks in their stores. It is mandatory. And the governor of Alabama issued a statewide mask mandate. But unfortunately, some people are still standing firm against science.
Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is banning local governments from mandating masks despite a sharp spike in cases in his state.
He extended his public health declaration to include banning 15 cities and counties from ordering people to wear a face mask in public.
We can have all this guidance and everything else, but if people won't follow it and do the right thing, then it doesn't really matter.
Okay, hold up. This governor is saying, why even have laws? People aren't going to follow them anyway? My man, we're already living through outbreak. I'm not trying to add the purge. I don't even get what the hang up is. What are people fighting? Are they fighting tyranny? Is that why they don't want to wear masks? Because you realize the government also makes you wear clothes in public too. That's a thing. Yeah, but I don't see anyone showing up pantsless to Walmart like, these are freedom nuts! Let's start our world tour in Russia, the artist formerly known as the Soviet Union. Everyone around the world is trying to find a COVID-19 vaccine, but Russia may have found a competitive edge.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And we start with breaking news coming into CNN. The US, Canada, and the United Kingdom have accused Russia of carrying out cyber attacks on several coronavirus research centers. The three governments believe the aim was to steal information about vaccine development.
That's right, people. Russia is trying to hack its way to a vaccine. And honestly, I want Russia to steal the vaccine. Yeah, I said it. Because I'll be honest, based on how good they are at poisoning people, they're going to be really good at making sure everyone is vaccinated. You won't even have to go to a doctor. You just have to bump into a guy on a bridge with an umbrella and it'll be over before you know it. Also, is it that bad if they steal the information if it leads to them getting a vaccine? I mean, at this point, I'll take the vaccine from anywhere. The same way a thirsty man in the desert will drink Dasani. We don't have choices. I'm just surprised Russia tried to hack America for the solution. I mean, the US is handling corona worse than any other country. This is like cheating off the kid who spends the whole class drawing dicks on their desk. So answer number 3 is flaccid penis? Moving on to Japan, the country that always knew shaking hands was a bad idea. The Asian superpower has been doing a good job fighting the virus, and they're starting to reopen the country. But they're being very, very careful about it.
At Fuji-Q Highland Amusement Park outside Tokyo. These are 2 of the park's executives stoically riding Fuji-Q's biggest coaster, Fujiyama, while displaying proper etiquette for their no screaming rule, implemented apparently to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Fuji-Q said it received complaints the rule was too strict, so the fun park released this video to prove it can be done. The 2 men, as you see, one wearing a full suit and tie, do not change their expressions for the entirety of the 4-minute thrill ride. The video then concludes with this philosophical piece of advice, quote, "Please scream inside your heart."
That's right. Scream inside your heart. That's the same advice Dr. Fauci tells himself before every press conference. It's a really hard thing to not scream at an amusement park. And it's going to be extra hard at Disney World, because people there scream every time they see how much a hot dog costs. What? I paid what? And I guess one person who will never be able to ride roller coasters in Japan is my best friend Olisa, because this is a clip from us riding a roller coaster before coronavirus. I miss human beings. Next up, let's go to Barbados, a beautiful Caribbean country and the world's #1 exporter of Rihanna. Due to COVID-19 shutting down the tourism industry, Barbados is now trying to turn the global lockdowns to its advantage.
Ever dreamed of living on an island paradise that could be a reality for you? Remote working is the new normal, and Barbados wants to turn its beaches adjacent to the crystal blue water into your new outdoor office. The Caribbean country is going to introduce a 12-month Barbados Welcome Stamp program, which would allow visitors from overseas to stay for an entire year and work remotely. Barbados officials are hoping it could help jumpstart the island's economy.
Okay, Barbados. This sounds like a pretty awesome deal. And there's no catch. I mean, it's not like Barbados is an island or something and you have to get in an Uber to go to the airport to get on an airplane and maybe catch coronavirus 10 times before you even set foot on the beach. I mean, I'm not going to lie, this is tempting, but getting to Barbados could be risky. You know, I'm just going to have to move to Barbados inside my heart. Now, on the other hand, maybe this is the perfect idea. Because if Corona does get worse and you're in the Caribbean, hearing that music on the steel drums is going to make things sound better. Because it is impossible to be sad when a steel drum is playing. Even Dr. Fauci's warnings would sound happier with a steel drum in the background.
It's a very difficult situation, as was predicted. This is going to get worse before it gets better, for sure.
That's right, guys. We're all gonna die. And finally, the coronavirus pandemic has been especially difficult for the world's authoritarian dictators. They have to fight a very real disease while also pretending that nothing in their country is ever wrong. But the Central Asian dictatorship of Turkmenistan has found a solution.
As serious as the global situation is, one country claims to have COVID-19 completely under control. Former Soviet Republic Turkmenistan sits right beside Iran, which has reported more than 260,000 infections. But Turkmenistan says it has 0 cases. Pretty unbelievable. Yet, a week after a visit from the World Health Organization, the authoritarian government has now strongly recommended its people wear masks. But the reason given? To protect them from dust.
I feel like we don't really have the full story of what's happening in Turkmenistan. Because this sounds like the family who sends out a Christmas newsletter talking about how perfect everyone's lives are, and then at the very end, they casually mention that Bobby's been granted parole. What? Honestly, I think that this dust excuse is actually more embarrassing than just saying you have coronavirus. Don't worry, we don't have disease here. We just have very dusty country because we don't own a vacuum cleaner. But if you think this dust excuse is ridiculous, wait until you see the public service announcement released by Turkmenistan's health ministry.
Greetings from the Turkmenistan Health Department. Now that you're all wearing masks to protect yourselves from our very non-contagious Turkmenistan dust, here are some other tips for staying safe in our very healthy country where there's no coronavirus at all. Stay 6 feet apart at all times to properly admire the beauty of the Turkmenistan people. All non-essential businesses will be closed indefinitely because our glorious people deserve a vacation. Vacation must be taken inside your home. If you experience difficulty breathing, go to the hospital immediately so doctors can assure you that you're breathing just fine, but in like a new special Turkmenistan way. And finally, if you see anyone coughing, just give them a smile and report them to the Ministry of Non-Coronavirus Affairs. Stay safe, but there's no reason to.